Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ranjit Shankar Narayanan. I work for City of Glasgow College in Glasgow in Scotland. I'm a project manager for international programs and an associate lecturer at the School of Education and Humanities. First of all, I would like to thank Lee Trong College for giving me this opportunity to present in this conference. Before I get into the details of the presentation, let me share the slides with you. Over the next 20 minutes, I will be discussing on this particular area, which is application of information technology in high quality training and smart schools in the context of Industrial Revolution 4.0, a supply chain perspective. Many of you might think, what is supply chain? What is supply chain management? And it is nothing new for me to hear that either, because quite a lot of my colleagues and friends do ask me, what is it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 20 minutes, I will give you a snapshot of what it is. And also I will discuss few issues around that area and how complex that could be for students to learn and why we should invest more money in providing the quality training. First of all, I would like to give you the table of contents for this particular presentation. I'll be giving you a brief introduction of what is supply chain management. Then I will discuss some of the current trends in supply chain. Software technologies and hardware technologies, which is currently widely used in this field. Industry 4.0, which is the highlight of this particular conference, and supply chain management, how those are interconnected, those fields are interconnected. Some of the employee skills that are required for Industry 4.0 and the talent shortage which we face in supply chain currently. Industry 4.0 curriculum, how that should look like, and also going to give you a few information of the traditional methods of teaching supply chain, and going to conclude the meeting with the new technologies, how we can implement that in the learning or in teaching supply chain management. First of all, supply chain management, as many of you might think what it is, I've heard about this. Well, I can give you a quick definition of it, and then I can give you an explanation for it. So the management of upstream and downstream relationships with suppliers and customers to deliver superior customer value at less cost to the supply chain as a whole. Well, that sounds a bit confusing for you, I take it. But if you look at supply chain, in general terms, it's basically how you're going to connect the supplies to the demand. The demand comes from the customer, the supplies comes from the suppliers. And in between, there is chain of activities which goes through, which basically trying to reduce the cost of the operations or providing more value for the customer at the end of it. There are a variety of partners in there. You have distributors, wholesalers, retailers, manufacturers, suppliers, tiered suppliers. So altogether, if you try to map them into a diagram, it looks like an easy chain of organizations who's working together in harmony, synchronize their activities. They probably do things in sequence in order to take a product which starts as a raw materials and it transformed into a product and it is distributed through the channels to the customer. One of the reason why supply chain is quite popular is because of globalization. As you all know, that world has become much more interconnected than 50 years ago. We have a particular product from China shipped to America within very short time. The technology has increased. The globalization has put more challenges onto supply chains as well. So making this inevitable, globalization makes this particular industry inevitable. The greater importance of this subject area is brought to the forefront by the current situation of global pandemic. Maybe many of you would have thought that, why there is an issue of not getting the toilet rolls, especially in the Western world. There was a big issue of not getting the toilet rolls, enough toilet rolls, and the people were trying to buy more and stock. That not only that, there is more other food items, baby foods, things were just getting more. People are trying to stock them more, just in case if there is a lockdown. And what happens is these uncertain demand has put more pressure on the supply chain. So basically what you're trying to do with supply chain is you're looking at the supplies which actually meet the demand of the customer. Okay, so there are a few functions which happens in between there. So if you look at it, there is distribution, transportation, warehousing. So there is various functions, customer service. All these things are there for you to learn. So it becomes a complex system, which is very hard for normal uh, people to understand what it is. But now, because of the pandemic, and also if you take the situation of vaccines being produced, the vaccines has to be distributed. It is produced in one part, it has to be distributed. So it has to use some kind of logistics system, distribution channels. So this requires planning. This is a complex planning because there is 7.5 billion population across the world. How you're going to get this through to everyone. So there is a lot required to learn in this particular area. And that's why it is a very important part of education, what you're trying to put in. To make this complex area, what is a complex area look like? To teach the students in a simplest way so that they can understand. Some of the current trends in supply chain, the investment are there for big data, the analytics, cloud computing, where you store the data, blockchain technologies, which is an emerging technology now. It provides much more transparencies in the ledgers, in the transactions. Artificial intelligence is widely used. Smart supply chain is another thing what we are thinking because of the smart devices across, how you're going to use those smart devices in supply chain. Robotics, most of the production facilities are using more robotics in days. Automation is there, and also the 3D printing, how we are trying to use 3D printing in supply chain. So there is a lot happening in supply chain at the moment. It's a very interesting area to learn at the moment. Some of the software technologies which is being used, and it's widely used for a variety of purposes. So for example, if you look at the descriptive analytics, which is being used to see what happened in the previous time, and you're trying to take this data to see why it was success or why it was failure, so you can learn from it. Predictive analytics is another thing where it enables the decisions through analyzing big data within and between connected devices. And prescriptive analytics is also used. So data supported options provided for evaluation and decision making. Artificial intelligence is also used there for decision making. It's enabled by using computers to learn in real time from data and provided by other digital technologies and human input. Cloud computing and remote storage, as you know that there is more data being gathered. For example, taking it from the social media, taking it from different angles of the smart devices from the people's houses. So these things has to be stored. So that we use cloud computing more to store those data. Blockchain technologies, as I mentioned before, has also enabled the distributed ledger applications, optimization tools for reducing the inventory, looking at the supply network. So a variety of software technologies are used in there in order to help you to take your supply chain or run your supply chains smoothly. Hardware technologies which is used like 3D printing, your augmented and virtual reality, autonomous vehicles, automated guided vehicles, and drone technology used for delivery. It has also been prototyped in different parts of the world now. Internet of Things, which helps them to look at the operational data and see what they can do to reduce the risk. That is also used there. E-commerce warehouses, transport units like your GPS, tracking, sensors, your materials handling equipments. It's all been, you're looking at electric vehicles, wearable and mobile technologies, that's used in the warehouses, scanners, automated machines, RFID, and robotics. All these are the new hardware technologies which has been used widely in supply chain. Now, these are the technologies which is used practically in the field. Now, how are we going to teach students this? Okay, so this is something, ladies and gentlemen, which we have to look into very carefully and also invest more time and money in bringing quality training across these areas. Industry 4.0 and supply chain management, they both are together interconnected. So the world has been moving forward towards a digital future over the years, and Industry 4.0 technologies are considered to be the way of the future. So this rapid digitization of industry is trending in supply chain management as well. So the opportunities surrounding the digitization have made it possible for supply chains to access, store, and process a large amount of data, both from within the firm and also from externally as well. This is where our big data, our Internet of Things being widely used at the moment in supply chain management. For you to see how the demand is going to change, to look at the uncertain demand and prepare yourself for those situations is what going to provide you an added advantage for your supply chain. Some of the employee skills around this area, and it's no different from your Industry 4.0, is your human resource skills should be actually work in collaboration with interactive and intelligent systems like your AI and IT, how you're going to put them together to the production process. Your man-machine interconnection, the machine learning, etc., should be there. Autonomous education should be a part of it. Training should be a part of it. It's more to do with how you're going to prepare the future generation to this Industry 4.0, which is widely being used across the world, and it is going to be the future. So these are some of the skills which you required for people in upcoming years. If you look at the global talent shortage in supply chain, a recent survey conducted by the logistics giant DHL, I hope everyone knows DHL. DHL, there are a number of reasons why they said it's contributed to the talent shortage crisis in this field. They have done a survey with 350 American companies to see what is the reason behind there is no much people in this particular field. Well, one of the reasons what they said was changing skills requirements. Because if you look at it, what it was as a job like 10 years ago in this particular field is no more there. Okay, so that is keep changing. It's evolving every time. So the skills requirements are changing. The aging workforce is one of the problems as well. Lack of development. So the organizations are not putting in the quality trainings in there for that. It could be for various reasons. It could be because of the cost-cutting measures. It could be because it is not one of their priorities. People do think that there is a perception that the supply chain jobs lack excitement. There is a lot of things people think about it. Lack of quality training programs is also one of the reasons which they have found in there. So how are we going to address this? Well, if you look at the Industry 4.0 curriculum, how you can design this, and this is a good work which was done by Lee in 2020. So in there, Lee explains, in order to give that Industry 4.0 curriculum, to build that, you should have people, technology, and organizations working together. Okay, and also you need to look at innovative curriculum, innovative methods of curriculum, which you can implement in your classroom or in your training providers, within your training providers. Diverse degree programs, non-degree options, if it is possible, like your chartered institutes can actually provide that as well. Lifelong learners, you need to build in new training programs, keep updated to the market conditions as well. So there is a variety of things which you can do, around that area to build that curriculum for Industry 4.0. Some of the traditional methods that was used in teaching supply chain management was, of course, your class lecturers, your overhead projections, textbooks, role plays, case studies, journal articles, tutorials, group discussions. These were the things which was used to say, even now we are using this in the classrooms. Well, that's all good. It's there because, the human element in there, people are learning, coming together. You can see the dynamics in the group because you will be working in the projects together. All these things are there. But at the same time, is this what we require for future? Because there is more of automation you're looking at in most of the areas. How are we going to work together with the technology? And that is what the discussion point is. And it's going to be in coming features as well. Well, for that, the best option to go through is bringing in innovative methods of teaching supply chain management. Because this is a complex subject, you need to bring in innovative methods to break this complexity of this particular topic and simplify them and take it to the learners. Now, one of the things, some of the ideas which is there, and I have put out in there, which could be implemented in future as well. The first thing is games technology. Now, who would don't like a game? I mean, since 1960, the beer game was used in the classrooms to teach the dynamics in the field of supply chain. Okay, so if you put that into the technology, use the web-based simulation, games technologies to be produced as an interactive, engaging educational tool that can create an enjoyable, productive learning environment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about how you provide that fun element along with learning in the classroom. And that makes the students to be motivated and engaged in the classroom. So learners will have a good opportunity to apply their learning outcomes in terms of decision making and analysis of business situation as well. Through the administrator role, various supply chain scenarios can be applied, then the participants' decisions can be collected for appraisal. So, these games can help you to understand how much the students or the learners have understood the area and how much they grasped into that dynamics of that particular field. Modern learners or modern, the new generation, what I can put, it's not a criticism, they are much more willing to participate in the diversified learning activities comparing to before. They are out there because they use this on a daily basis on their mobile phones or in any smartphone devices. So they are willing to take part in it. And if you bring this into your classroom or to your training academies, this will help you to engage them more and more into your classes. Augmented reality is kind of the future. And especially now, due to the pandemic reasons where you cannot travel to industry or conduct an industry visit. When here at Glasgow, in our college, we do take our supply chain students to Amazon or Rolls-Royce production facility or Amazon warehouses, etc. But unfortunately, this year we couldn't do that. And I think in future it will be very hard for us to take people into the industry because of the social distancing measures or the local lockdowns, at least for next 2 or 3 years. Well, in there, a visual and interactive experience in a real world environment should be provided. How we are going to provide that? Augmented reality supports the understanding of complex phenomena by providing unique visual and interactive experience that combine real and virtual information and help communicate abstract problems to the learners. So some of the benefits of augmented reality is it encourages collaboration because people see that visually. It helps them to understand the areas and collaborate much more with their learners or peers, and then they can work. Learning key abilities such as problem solving, because they are seeing things visually, they can also see how, when there is a problem arise, how you would solve that in real time. The other thing is it increases motivation. What else you need? Your students should be motivated to learn in particular area. 360-degree videos, it involves, it just provides you a field trip to the place. If you provide them, a 360-degree video of a warehouse, of a production facility or a distribution center, the students can actually see what happens in that particular area. So for example, if I'm talking about high shelvings, or the robotics which has been used in the distribution centers. I mean, we probably won't get an access to these areas. However, a 360-degree video would actually provide them that visual treat of being there in that particular location. So 360-degree videos allows learner to make better connections with their learning by providing concrete and visual explanations and examples. So the user is involved in a realistic and authentic situation without being physically being present in that location itself. So watching 360-degree videos with the VR headsets appears to be more attractive to learners because of immersive user experience, which disconnects the user from the real world. So students do enjoy that. They would like to take part in that activity. They would like to see, now add some theoretical element to it, give them some kind of an assessment around it, see what they're going to provide you. It will be remarkable to see how students are going to go through that. Artificial intelligence, like your voice assistants such as the Amazon Alexa, Apple Siri, allows interacting with various learning materials without communication with the teacher. So smart content can be used for various learning materials, from digitized textbooks to customized interfaces. So working in collaboration with different technology providers would actually help you to provide this interactive materials to your learners. That brings to the end of this particular presentation. In summary, the above technologies which I mentioned will help the training providers and educators to improve classroom engagement and create interest in complex subjects such as supply chain management. As I mentioned at the beginning of this particular presentation, this is very important, that you provide that facility for your students. It's not about having those facilities in your organization, it's about how you utilize them as well. So in order to do that, the collaboration between educational institutions and technology developers will pave ways for innovative technologies being introduced to the classroom environment. Okay, so whatever we have currently, we also can use it, but there are a few more which you can do in providing a better experience for your students as well. So situations such as the global pandemic pose more challenge in the education sector. Applying innovative IT in remote teaching will be more interesting in the future as well. So your smart schools, even though it provides a lot of information technology investment in it, applying things smartly would actually provide you a better output with less cost. And such a situation what we are in at the moment, most of our learners are studying remotely. I think applying these kind of technologies there would always help them to be an active learner. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm open for any questions from you. Thank you.